Angie, and I'm going to show you a few movements this morning to get you started with kettlebell kickboxing, and then you can join our club once you've practiced a few of these basic movements. Now we're going to start with the kettlebell swing, but first we're going to just have our feet about shoulder width apart, and we're going to take our arms up and through the legs just to practice the hip hinge. What you're doing is folding at the waist, slight bend in the knee, but it's mostly at the waist. So you can come up and reach through. This is after your warm-up, or maybe as part of your warm-up. It's a good idea to get the glutes engaged, working every time you're standing up. You can give them a squeeze and reach through. So you're bending at the hips, just like that. And then, what I'd like you to do is practice a hip hinge with the bell, which will be a deadlift. So then you have your feet apart, again, about shoulder width apart, and you're just gonna put your hands on the handle of the bell and pull it up. So you're standing, and set it back down, pull it up. Feel your glutes working, of course, because we're training the posterior with these movements. And we want to just get these basics in before we start swinging, which is a different type of movement. It's an explosive movement, and I'm going to explain it to you right now. So with the swing, you're going to have your arms holding the bell. Right now we're doing it unloaded. So no bell, and you're gonna take the bell between your legs, between your knees, behind your knees, and then the force of your hips is gonna be squeezing right about here when the bell comes right back up to shoulder height. And then gravity is gonna bring it back down again. So it's going to look like this in real time. So you can practice a few of those. Boom. So you're going to squeeze your hips, thrust the hips, kind of popping. And you're going to have both hands on the bell after we pick up the bell. And you'll be swinging away. At no point are you using your arms to hold the bell. So watch what I mean. I will not be using the arms. So I have to position the bell in front of me, pick it up, to load it, then tip it toward myself, pull it back, and then it swings out. Hips are squeezing, hips are popping, explosive action, and then it just drops right back down. And to put it back down, it'll go between your knees, and then you set it back right where you picked it up again. And then you can stand up. And I want to show you what not to do. This is not a swing. This is not a swing. Even if I am hinging, it's not a swing. Why? Because I'm using my arms, and we do not use an arms for that particular move. And neither is it a squat. I am not squatting when I'm swinging. I'm not squatting. I am hinging at the hips. So I'll show you again. It's not a squat, and it's not using the arms. Okay? Slight bend. The knees aren't locked, but it's mostly this hinge. You can pretend you're just gazing out into a deep canyon in front of you. You're peering over the edge to get a sense of what the hip hinge means. You find your hips, fold there, so your hips are further back, just like that. So the double-handed full mobility swing looks like this. Sometimes you might want to do the single-handed swing, which looks like this. One hand on the top of the bell, and your thumb is going to go back first between your legs. Everything else is the same, except a single single-handed. And notice my shoulder is not dipping down, but it's actually more challenging because your body has to still remain even, aligned, and stable. Now this arm can be tucked back here, it can be right here, or it can be out. I'll just demonstrate. It can be behind, it can be out, or you can protect your face like a martial artist, just like this. And the other thing I want to mention is when you're swinging, full mobility or single-handed, and I will also show you how to swing switch. We never are bending backwards, okay? Your glutes are the brake, so that's why we only go about shoulder height, and then the brakes stop, and then the glutes act as a brake to stop the motion, protecting your back before the bell goes back down. Now, for a single arm swing switching, you're gonna switch up front when it's floating. So there's another reason why we're not using the hands to lift the bell, because this would not work at all. But just hand over hand, that's a nice way to switch, and then put it back down, like so. So now you know the swing, and I'm going to teach you how to squat properly as well. So this is a knee bend. Squatting, we are bending with the knees. So again, your feet are apart, and your toes can be slightly angled out, and you're going to drop down with your knees apart, and then you use your glutes on the way up, and you keep your chest upright, nice and deep, hopefully as deep as you can if you want to use a chair to assist you while you're figuring it out and while you're training yourself to go lower. It also has to do with your ankle mobility. And then eventually, maybe you'll want to pick up a bell and hold it mid-racked to your chest right here with the elbows in. And then we do this, not rocking back and forth on the feet, using the glutes to get up to standing. Okay, and then we do all sorts of fun movements with that. Another basic movement for the upper body is going to be the kettlebell clean. So you're going to grab the bell by the handle and pull it up just in your regular single arm deadlift, and then you're going to be bending your arm at the elbow and kind of corkscrewing it so that the bell swivels around your wrist, and you end up with a strong straight wrist like this. Not like this. This is a no-no, but strong and straight, even curled slightly inward is better. Okay, so then going back down, it's swiveling opposite direction. You can also think of it as zippering up a jacket, an imaginary jacket, bending at the elbow, keeping it pretty close to your body, just like that. And from here, this is an important move because it allows you to go from the swing or a deadlift to, say, a press, overhead press, single arm, or you can do it on the opposite side. You might want to practice on your non-dominant arm. So you can get it smooth, you can get it controlled, and then you can go from there, lots of places. And the other thing I want to mention is that sometimes you might have to bend your knees a little if you're working with a heavier bell, for instance, and you need some more power from your lower body. So you might want to bend your knees a little, and then you can get the bell overhead. That's a-okay. That's called a push press. What I just did now is called a push press. And you bend your knees, keeping everything stable, aligned, elbows in. And this is so great for your back, shoulders, and your core stability. Now this next series is going to be all about the leopard, which comes from the martial art motion part of the brand, and we're going to go down on all fours, hands and knees, and then you're going to be on your toes and raise your knees up Then you're going to take the opposite hand and foot and just make little steps, keeping your knees close to the ground. And there you have your leopard crawl. You can crawl backwards, you can crawl forwards, you can crawl to the side. Keep the knees close to the ground and keep your toes not too far away so you're not doing a plank walk, but you want to keep them bent so that your knees are at 90-degree angle with your shins and your thighs. And your other option too is your hands can be flat on the ground if you have strong wrists. You can also do it on your fists. That might help some people to keep a straight wrist like that. And then another option is to have it on your fingertips. Why not try that sometime? Can be fun. And then with the leopard, you can also twist. Okay, you might be twisting sometimes with your hands on the ground and your belly button to the side, not all the way up to the sky. Just like that, and if you need to put your hip down in between, you can. Okay, the next step is to raise up your arm, just like this. You can pull it back because you might want to slide this bottom leg out. And the in-between stage is to sit on the ground right here. And then you have your leopard kick out. And your leopard kick out. You can go to center and take a pause before you twist to the other side. Slide your leg through, your bottom leg through, while you're figuring out how that one works.